Thick mask, all the time. I am sorry, you are haunting. Your face is the stuff of nightmares.
Like a testicle with teeth.
You will die alone. If you could die. Ideally. For others' sake.
That'll do.
All you need now is a suit and a nickname, like Wade the Wisecracker, or Scare Devil. Mr. Never Die. Ah, shit.
What?
I put all my money on you, and now I just realize I'm never gonna win the,
Deadpool. Captain.
What up, y'all? It's your man, Mr. Mar Sharp, Short Man Filmworks in the building, and we have another episode of the Everyday Man's Film Reviews for you guys this evening. It's after 6 o'clock, so we have another episode of the Everyday Man's Film Reviews for you guys this evening, all right? So y'all know we are on the heels of the new Deadpool movie that's coming out in July. It's actually coming out, I think it's coming out the day after my birthday. It's coming out on the 26th. So it's going to be Deadpool and Wolverine. So that's going to be the third installment of the Deadpool franchise. So today we're going to be talking about the 2016 release of the first Deadpool, starring Ryan Reynolds and a couple other folks that are in this movie. All right. So I came in contact with this movie. Well, I actually knew about Deadpool. I knew about Deadpool some years before from a couple of the comics. You know, I read a couple of comics. Wasn't really too much into the character of Deadpool. You know what I mean? I just knew of him, but I didn't really know much about him until I started exploring a little bit of the background and some of the lore of this character. And I got my first taste of who he was in the Wolverine Origins movie, where Ryan Reynolds was playing the part of Wade Wilson, but they kind of did him a little dirty in that movie. They kind of dumbed him down. They didn't really put him in the aspect of being that Deadpool character. We got a little bit of it in that film. But it was more evident in the actual feature film that came out in 2016. And I think Wolverine Origins came out in what year did that movie come out? I think that movie came out, I want to say that movie came out in like maybe 2010 or 2011. It might have been before that when that movie came out, but I think it was somewhere around the time when that movie came out. So like I said, we got a little piece of what Wade Wilson was about, you know. And then fast forward to 2016, we get the actual film come out, and this was like my real big taste of what Deadpool was about. You know, they had the video game with him out, and I want to say, I think that came out before the movie as well. I think the video game came out before the movie as well. You can see he has a little bit of the same quirks that he has in the movie of him being this wisecracking character. You know, so my introduction to Deadpool has been kind of in pieces, you know, and I got more of him when I got into the actual when I got into the actual movie, you know. So we started with the movie in 2016. This movie came out in 2016 and starring Ryan Reynolds, and I think this was kind of like a passion project for Ryan Reynolds, because I believe he started out filming like a little small scene of and I think he posted it online of what the movie would be like, and I think the fans just went crazy over this one little particular scene that was presented, which made them decide to do the film. You know what I mean? So with the film coming out, I can truly say that this film did not disappoint. I loved this movie. You know what I mean? And I think Ryan Reynolds was the perfect person to play Wade Wilson. You know, just the wisecracks, the wittiness, you know, just the way Ryan Reynolds is as an actor. You know, I love Ryan Reynolds. I love his movies because he has a certain persona about him. You know what I mean? He brings that to almost every film, and he can do a lot, man. Ryan Reynolds can do a lot. He can do comedy. He can do drama. He did a little bit of horror when he did Amityville Horror. So he does a little bit of everything. He's a real well-rounded actor. You know what I mean? So for him to do this kind of work, and I think personally, I think these kind of roles fit him perfectly, where he's serious, but he's got some wisecracks along with it. You know what I mean? So I like the fact that with Ryan Reynolds, that he brought that kind of aspect to the film of being of being Wade Wilson. You know, because to me, he brought Wade Wilson to life, you know what I mean, as well as everybody else inside of the film, you know. But I'm not gonna spend too much time on the film. I'm trying to cut my stuff short a little bit instead of me talking about it for about 20 to 30 minutes. So I'm trying to cut all these reviews short now, and I'm just trying to get straight. All right, sorry about that, y'all. I was having a couple of little difficulties going on with my camera right now, but we're gonna continue pushing on through. All right, so yeah, like I was saying, man, I loved this film, man. I love this film because of what was done with the film and how it came about, and it was just a different approach. It was nice. It was a breath of fresh air because it's been a while since at that time. It's a lot of movies are going to the shits these days, man. I'm hoping that this new one don't disappoint. But I'm thinking about this movie, and I'm thinking about so much of how witty it was and how fresh it was, you know what I mean? And it was enjoyable. You know, it's rare nowadays that you go into a movie enjoying the entire movie and just sitting down and having a good time. And I had a good time with this film, you know what I mean? I had a good time with this film. So let's give a little brief synopsis of going through the film. We start off and we find out that Wade Wilson is this kind of like this mercenary for hire. He's a mercenary for hire, and he's doing these little odd jobs, you know. And he's known this little community of I don't want to say oddball assassins, but this little community of I want to say, I guess, little, you know, pay for hire people. You know, he's known this little community, and in the midst of him being inside this community, he meets a young lady named Vanessa, played by what's her name? Morena Baccarin. I think I'm just pronouncing her name right. But he meets her and they hit it off and they start this relationship. And as they go through the relationship, you see that it's been a year. They get into this relationship, and as they get into this relationship, he starts to care for her. She loves him, he loves her, and then he finds out he has terminal cancer. You know, this is before he finds out about his mutant abilities. So in the event of him find out he has a cancer, you know, now he's kind of like, okay, I'm kind of like the Walking Dead, you know. And then he gets propositioned by this agent, and I cannot remember the guy's name, but he gets propositioned from this agent to basically say, hey, I can cure you of your cancer if you come along and join this little group of mutants, or this little group of this group where we fix you and make you better. And in the midst of him trying to be fixed and get better, he finds out that they're doing nothing but torturing people. And as they torture people, it wakes up their mutant genes, that whatever torture they put them through, they go through so much stress, it activates the mutant genes. And the main character with that is a guy named Ajax. And with that guy named Ajax, you know, Wade finds out his real name is Francis, which continues to be a running gag throughout the entire film. You know, but once he finds out his name, and Ajax is trying to break him and he won't break him, and then finally once he kind of breaks him, but he doesn't break him, you know, because that's kind of like Wade's spirit. You know, he's like, hey, you know, a citizen human never survives this place. And he's like, all right, well, we gonna see about that. You know, but after putting him through so much torture, his mutant genes actually activate, and he has this just uncanny ability to just heal from whatever he's going through. You know, so in the gist of it all, that's kind of like what the gist of what the movie is about. You know, he finds out that Ajax put him through all this torture, and he spends parts of the movie trying to get his revenge on Ajax in the movie, which turns out that, you know, when Ajax tells him, you know, there's no cure for what I did. You know, we just kind of did this as experimentation. You know what I mean? So kind of like in a nutshell, that's the gist of the movie. But in the midst of all of that, we get introduced to all of these different characters. You know, we get introduced to You know, we get introduced to Deadpool. We get introduced to Vanessa, who's the love of his life. There's 2 X-Men in here. There's Colossus, which we didn't really get a taste of Colossus except for in X2. In the second X-Men movie, we got a little piece of him. But in this one, we get the full-fledged metal version of Colossus, who's big and burly, and he's Colossus. He is who he is. And then we meet Negasonic Teenage Warhead, which I didn't even know this was an X-Men. Must be one of the on the C list or the D list of X-Men, because I've never heard of this character until this movie. But the young lady who plays what is her name? Brianna Hildebrand. Sound like a German name. Brianna Hildebrand. But she plays him. She plays her as I feel like as a way any teenager would be played. You know, I feel like she's probably maybe about 17, 18 years old, just starting out that teenage thing, and she's getting into them teenage attitudes and hormones, and she plays it the way it needs to be played. You know what I mean? So we see her, man, I can't remember TJ Miller's character, but he has some funny lines in the movie too, because he had me cracking up at some of the things that he said. He had me cracking up with some of the stuff he said. We meet Blind Al. In this. So there's a lot of characters where we start seeing these characters being developed in this film. You know what I mean? And I love the movie for what it's worth, man. For what it's worth, I loved Deadpool for what it's worth. You know what I mean? It's one of the movies that is not meant to be taken seriously. You know, it's a fun movie, and it's a fun movie from the start, even from the credits. From the credits, you can see where this movie is going. You know, because during the credits they have a lot of where they got the names and everybody running through who does what and who did this and who did what. They have a whole bunch of different things describing the people that did what they did. You know, so you kind of see where it's going. You know what I mean? And I feel like too, even from the video game, because the video game is like that, where Wade Wilson, he breaks the fourth wall a lot. You know, and in the movie he breaks the fourth wall. So you see who the character is. You see who the character is, and you have an idea of what the whole entire movie is going to be like. But it's funny, man. It's funny. It's action packed. It's got a little bit of drama in it. But for the most part, it's more of an action comedy. It's an action comedy, but well worth it, man. It's well worth your time. Movie's about 2 hours, I believe. It's about 2 hours, but it's well worth the time and well worth the watch. I don't know if there's anybody who actually seen this movie that did not like it. I hear more people saying that they liked this one than the second one. And I'm a little bit in agreement with that, but I'll focus on that when I talk about the second one. But I'm a little bit in agreement with that because this one was like the introduction of who Deadpool is, and in the midst of getting at, you get a little bit more of that in the second one. I don't want to go there because I want to talk about that when we get to the second one. I don't want to go there just yet. But I hear more people saying that they liked this one more than the second one. I'm a little bit on the fence. I like both of them, but I think I like the first one more than the second one. Doesn't mean I don't like the second one, but I think I like the first one just a little bit more than the second one. But it doesn't mean the second movie wasn't a good movie, because the second one was a good movie. It was a good movie, all right? Shout outs to the filmmakers who made this film, and I'll kick myself in the face because I didn't write down who directed the film or nothing like that. You know what I mean? So I kicked myself in the face for that. So when I do my second one, I'm going to reference back to this movie when I do Deadpool 2. But shout outs to the director. I want to say the director was I'm not even going to take a stab on it. I'm not even going to take a stab at it. So I'm just going to leave it alone. Because I'm not even going to take a stab at it because I'm going to fuck it all up. So I ain't going to take a stab at it. But shout out to the director because he went in a direction that was perfect for this movie. Perfect for this movie. And like I said, the movie doesn't disappoint from start to finish. It never disappoints, you know what I mean? And I love the fact that it was so witty and it was so quirky. You know what I mean? To me, some people might say a lot of it was cheesy, but I didn't find it cheesy, man. I found a lot of it to be hilarious, man. You know, I found a lot of stuff in this movie to be hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Reynolds is a national treasure, man. He's a gem, man. I love Ryan Reynolds. I've been liking Ryan Reynolds since not Van Wilder, because he was in Van Wilder, and I never really liked Van Wilder too much. I really started liking Ryan Reynolds from what's the movie he was in? Waiting, the movie he was doing where he was a waiter, and from that movie on, I've been a Ryan Reynolds fan ever since. You know what I mean? I typically have seen. I don't know if I've seen everything. I probably say I've seen about a good. I want to say between 90 to 95% of his movies I've seen. And in all his movies, I have not been disappointed with him and what he's done and what he can do. I think Ryan Reynolds is a very great actor, standout actor, man. He has range. He can do a lot. He can do comedy. He can do horror. He can do drama. He can do action. Ryan Reynolds can do a lot. He can do a lot of things, man. But I think his niche is comedy. He's a very comedic actor, man, and I love what he did in this film. That's why I'm thinking about it now. Deadpool fit him. You know, they say you got roles that people can play, and you can't imagine nobody else playing that character. I can't imagine nobody else playing the character of Wade Wilson but Ryan Reynolds, because he hit it on the mark. He hit it all his beats. And I know a lot of that stuff was improv. I know a lot of it was improv because you can tell by a lot of things he was doing that he went off script. And if he didn't go off script, kudos to him, man. Kudos to him because he's awesome. You know what I'm saying? What was my baby girl name? Morena Baccarin, who plays Vanessa. She played the part for what it's worth. She played his love interest, and in her playing his love interest, you know, she gets some burn on the screen, but you get the chemistry of the two. You know, she's like his total opposite. You know, he's this wisecracking, quirky kind of dude, and she's kind of the same, just in a female body. You know what I mean? They mesh well together. You know, they connect like Legos. You know, and I think Morena Baccarin played it the way she needed to be played. She didn't go over the top like Ryan Reynolds did. She wasn't over the top, but she had a lot of those qualities that needed to be displayed. You know what I mean? You could tell, like I said, you could tell they two peas in a pod, but they still different, but it works. The young lady who played Naked Sonic Teenage Warhead, Brianna Hildebrand, she did her thing too. She played it like a young teenage girl. You know, that's all I can say about her. She played it like a young teenage girl. Kind of just, she's on her phone. Nothing else really matters but what she has going on. You know, she has a couple moments where she displays her powers. But other than that, you know, she's just being a teenage girl. So she played it the way it needed to be played. The gentleman who played Colossus, I think he just did the voice because Colossus is more of a CG character. And Colossus is more of that philosopher, keep the peace character, because he's always trying to persuade Wade to not engage in violence and be more peaceful and there's more ways to engage the enemy than just by shooting and killing. So he was more of the I don't want to say he was the comic relief. He wasn't the comic relief. TJ Miller was the comic relief, but he's more of the voice of reason. He's the voice of reason in this, and he has his moments where he gets down and dirty in the movie toward the end of the movie. He has his moments, but he's still that center. He's like the center. He's the peace. He's the not the brains. He's the calm, cool, collected character. TJ Miller, he's the comic relief because he has a lot of parts in here that have me cracking up. And the thing with TJ Miller is kind of like, and he tends to do this in all his films. And I remember seeing him in this film, in the second Deadpool, when he was in he was in that other movie with the guy was liking the girl. I think it's called She's Out of My League. He was in that movie. He kind of still played that same tone, but in this one, it worked. It worked, you know, because it's kind of, he has a dry undertone. He has a dry tone to him, but it makes it funny. Because I don't know why it makes it so funny, but I found myself laughing at a lot of things he said. Like the first time he seen Wade with his face, And he has a moment, he just says, "Oh man, you're hideous." But it's the way he says it that had me crying. I mean, literally, like tears running out of my eyes, because the way he said it, the shit was so funny to me, man. The way he did it, so he played that very well. And Blind Al played by Leslie Inghams. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name right. I think it's Inghams. I think Leslie Inghams. She played Blind Al in a funny, in a fun way as well. You know what I mean? Everybody in this movie did what they needed to do. You know, I don't feel like there was one character that was off. Ajax, I think Ajax was probably like, I don't want to say he was the weakest part of the movie, because he kind of was like, I don't know, he kind of was like a basic generic villain. Kind of like he kind of really didn't have no real motivation, but just to see these people that they was experimenting on be tortured, you know, because he was experimenting on himself. He was experimenting on himself, and I think he had the ability to feel. He had the ability to feel no pain. He had just zero, no tolerance to pain. He could feel no pain. So I don't know. I think maybe if he was dug into a little bit more, there could have been more with him, because he was just kind of, I don't know, man. He was just kind of like a dry villain. He didn't really have too much, man. I think he didn't really have too much as a villain for me to be vested in him too much. I wasn't really invested in him too much, because it was just kind of like, okay, he's torturing everybody because he got tortured, and now he wants to do it to everybody else. Kind of some generic villain shit, you know what I mean? So if anything, I say that probably was the weakest part of the film. But in essence, you wasn't really paying attention to him getting. You wasn't really paying attention to Wade getting even with Ajax. You was, but you kind of wasn't, because you was more into the wisecracks, into the jokes, into the wittiness of Wade Wilson. That's pretty much what the movie kind of was about. It was about who this character Wade Wilson was, and his life. That's basically what the movie was about. So maybe if I feel like maybe if they would have gave Ajax a little bit of a better motive to do what he was doing, because like I said, it was just kind of whatever, you know. So I think that was the weakest part of the film, would be the villain of Ajax. But other than that, man, I think Deadpool was a solid movie, man. You know, even with that weak point, in my opinion, I think Deadpool was a solid movie. You know what I mean? So on a scale of on a 5 thumbs up scale, I give Deadpool. What will I give Deadpool? I give Deadpool 4.5 thumbs up, because of the weakness of Ajax. You know what I mean? And matter of fact, I don't even know if I would give it a 4.5. I would give it 4.75, because it was a small part of the film that really didn't make the film bad. You know, even though the Ajax character was kind of like whatever, it didn't really make the movie bad. So I can't even say I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I'm gonna give it a 4.75. I give it a 4.75 because of Ajax. But other than that, man, it's a solid movie. You know, it's a solid movie. I watched it probably like a week ago, and I enjoyed watching it again. Like I said, man, T.J. Miller had me crying with that when he was riffing on Wade, man. He had me. I'm telling you, man, the man had me in tears because of the dryness of the humor, and he had me in tears of his dry delivery. It was funny to me. So yeah, I give it a 4.75 scale. You know, it's a lot of it's a lot of stuff in this movie that's enjoyable. You know, from the music to the made up songs. There's a lot of made up songs in this film that if you pay attention and listen to the words of the songs that's going on in this movie, you like, really, they really doing that? You know what I mean? So it was enjoyable, man. I did like this movie. You know what I'm saying? I did like this movie. So let me know how you feel about Deadpool. You know what I mean? If you liked it, if you didn't like it, drop some comments below. Put a like on this video. Show your boy some love. This is Mr. Marshaw. These are the Everyday Man's film reviews. And I will catch y'all on the next video. I haven't done this in a while, so y'all gotta y'all gotta forgive me. I haven't done this in a while. Other stuff has been going on. Life has been going on, so it's been a while since I did a video. So I gotta get back into my flow of things. Get back into the flow of things. So check my channel out. This is Short Man Filmworks. Check out the channel. I got Motivational Mondays going on. That's something that I put out every Monday, just to have a little message, something to keep you going, something to keep you motivated and go through. Is something that I started a couple months ago, about 6 months ago, and I just figured, hey, you know, if I'm going through something and I'm feeling certain type of ways, I want other people to feel like they can get through it too. So check out the channel, check out the other film reviews that I've done, check out Motivational Mondays. This is Short Man Filmworks. I'm your man, Mr. Mar Sharp, and these are the Everyday Man's Film Reviews. I will catch y'all on the next video. Y'all take care. Y'all have a nice night. All right.